Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the issue resolved. It appeared as if it might have been an issue on my end. My game just did not want to load properly. So apologies for that, but thank you for bearing with us. But we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and unfortunately we did miss the start of the race, but it appeared to be a bit of a chaotic start here as we take a sit rep. Jonathan Dunk leading the race. Equazer, who had a good qualifying, down in 8th right now. And let's quickly take a look here. First and foremost, we see the position change here. You're seeing the likes of Equazer and Memin, who took a pit stop early on. So not too sure how all of this played out. Fuse Rogue, Deary Racing, Conze Opoder are out of this race. Deary Racing and Cones didn't even complete a lap. Fuse Rogue completed 2 laps, and I think this is what brings us here to our safety car that we're seeing right now that we are under. VZ, meanwhile, having to catch up to the grid here as he, unfortunately, I think he took a pit stop here, just putting on a set of soft tires and catching back up to the safety car. But just about everybody here on the harder compounds, the mediums or the hards, except for Jonathan Dunk, Hewlett, who are both in the top 5, Scuba Steve and VZ as well on the soft tires, Memin and Bring F1 on the hard tires, everybody else here on the set of medium tires. So we'll see how this is all going to play out. Safety car is currently out here on lap 4 out of 22, and we'll be going around for one more lap here. So we did tune in just in time. We're not missing much here with the safety car, so tons of racing action to go here. As you saw those little bits and pieces of front wing as the drivers are coming around the final corner there. It was interesting to see all of that there, and might have been where there could have been an incident, quite possibly. But no, I missed them once again. I'm missing all my camera angles here today at the moment, but we will get better on them, of course, once we head back to Green Flag Racing, get into the groove, which hopefully is going to be at the end of this lap, and very much so should be. That is one thing that is nice about this circuit here in Spa, is that the safety cars, at least as far as lap-wise, tend to be a little bit shorter, because the grid takes a little bit less time to catch up to the safety car. But of course, only 22 laps here of this Grand Prix. The circuit is very long. As you can see, the longest circuit as far as distance covered is concerned on the calendar, as far as I'm aware. Maybe not in terms of lap time. I think Singapore takes king on that one. But of course, as far as distance is covered, nearly 7 miles, I believe, is the length of the circuit. But here we've got 22 laps. We've done 5 of them, or we're working on the 5th lap, which is under safety car. Going to be a little bit of a write-off, but like I said, hopefully the safety car comes in so we can get some Green Flag Racing to everybody watching at home who's been waiting for it, as have I here. Of course, the technical issues did not help. We did unfortunately miss the start of the race, which appeared to be a little chaotic. But what happened here, as Hewlett falling down the order, he took a little bit of a scenic route coming on the exit of Pouin, had a little bit of a moment, and falls down to P13. So not ideal for the Alpine driver, as now he is going to have his work cut out for him here, having to crawl up from the back of the grid. He is on the soft tires though, but he was running into a top 5 previously, so that does hurt a little bit. But the safety car is coming in. Jonathan Dunk is now leading the restart. And speaking of the restart, and from what I'm seeing here with the onboard, it is getting a little cloudy. And normally, especially here at this circuit, when we start to see clouds like this, it does tend to indicate rain is on its way. We'll monitor this and we'll see how this will play out in practice, but we could just very well be starting here. We've got some severe collisions as drivers are looking to get a little bit of an advantage. Not ideal penalties to take in this situation, but now on to the restart we go. Green flag. Jonathan Dunk getting a good restart. Warrior and sticking with them right behind, but we've got some battles here in the midfield. Bring F1 and Jacob exchanging positions. VZ and Scuba Steve switching places as well here very early on across the start-finish straight. Up Eau Rouge we go into Radiant. Drivers making it through pretty cleanly here on lap 6. You've got VZ putting a lot of pressure on Jacob, who appears to not be connected, unfortunately. So that is his AI that's driving. So unfortunate for Jacob, as he is not connected and falls down to P11. Scuba Steve, the next driver to go after him, and we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll have to keep an eye on if Jacob does manage to connect back into the lobby. But Hewlett now is on a little bit of a charge. Fellow though going side by side with Crew Steamers and does go down the inside of Fouon to take P3 from Crew Steamers. So a fantastic move from the Haas driver there to jump up into a podium position, and he now gets to continue his charge and try to chase down the top two. Mr. Clean right up close to Lightwork as they're starting to catch up on Crew Steamers. So it looks like Crew Steamers may be losing a little bit of pace here. We've got a yellow flag as what happened here? That's Equazer who's out of this race. Where is that car? There is that car right then and there, and that'll bring out another safety car for the crash from Equazer here on lap 6 as he's coming onto the exit at the end of sector 2 to head down the Blanchiment straight here. Unfortunately, either clipping the inside curb too much or taking that car just a little bit too wide, but the results tend to be the same. A crash out, and we are back under safety car here to start lap 7 with Jonathan Dunk having pit for the medium tires, which does promote the Red Bull of Warriors up into P1 here now under safety car. So he will be leading the restart, so as long as he chooses not to pit. And at least here for the moment, it's looking kind of sunny. So it must have just been a little bit of cloud cover that came through. So maybe not as close to rain as I thought we were, and as I might have low-key hoping for here, just to bring a little bit of stir a little bit more fun into the pot here of this Grand Prix. But it appears to not be the case in this stage, as it is still sunny skies, at least in this portion of the track, with Warrior Ends leading the way under safety car. Bring F1 and VZ swapping positions here as they're having a little bit of fun following along the queue. Don't want to be having too much fun though. Don't want to be causing coming up into incidents with one another and affecting both of their races. But I'm sure the drivers are going to be managing that here, as I think they just got close here with the slow section. Looking to get a move on here. Of course, under safety car, the safety car itself is flying around the track, but in an F1 car, it's very pedestrian speeds. We are moving here relative to the speed of an F1 car in full force. But with the grid caught up, we might be going back to green flag racing at the end of this lap. So we'll let so we could possibly let the racing and the excitement continue, but we'll monitor that here as we're coming through the end of Sector 2, leading into Sector 3. The lights are still on for the time being. We'll see if they close between now and the end of the lap. And it looks like they will not close. The safety car lights will still remain on, and we have one more lap under safety car here in Spa as Hewlett takes a 5-second penalty. Severe collision with Scuba Steve. That is not going to help one bit here under safety car, and it appears if for a lot of it, it's drivers just driving too close to one another. And of course, when you do that, you're bound to take penalties just like that. You're also quite possibly able to break your front wing. For Hewlett, though, enough is enough. He is now out of this race, retires in the pits, and that brings our total running drivers down to 11 now here in this Belgian Grand Prix. So 11 drivers remain after Hewlett retires after the out of the race here at the end of the last lap, at the end of lap 7 here under safety car, after taking a 5-second penalty for collision under the safety car with Scuba Steve. Maybe took some wing damage and just decided enough is enough, cut your losses, and get an early start on next week's preparation. But like I said, for us, though, we continue on. We are still under safety car here as we've hit the end of Sector 1, coming through Sector 2. Warrior Ants will be leading the restart once we do go back to green flag racing, with Fellow in second. The top 4 here, the top 2, as aforementioned drivers, Lightwork and Mr. Clean as well. They've all not taken a pit stop here. They are on the initial medium tires they were running, so their strategy is working out pretty well for them here in this stage of the race, running top 4. Memon bring F1. They pit for the hard tires, and they are P5 and P6 right now, looking to go very long here, and quite possibly could go to the end of the race if they can make those hard tires last long enough. But these laps under the safety car are helping. VZ on the softs down in 7th, Jacob in 8th, but that still is AI driving, with Jonathan Dunk having just come out of the pits after pitting for a set of medium tires now. Through the when this safety car came out, he's going to have to work his way up the field in P9, with Crew Steamers and Scuba Steve rounding out the rear behind them on the softs and the hards respectively. But here we go. Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, so we will be going back to green flag racing to start lap 9 out of 22 here for this Belgian Grand Prix, with Warrior Ants, who is going to be leading the charge. So he's getting the last little bit of heat in his tires before he truly pins it down, which he does now, heading in towards the final corner, and we'll see how that's going to play out for him here, since he is leading the way, and he cannot be overtaken before the line. So heads towards the line, gets a good start. Fellow a decent start as well. Lightwork falling behind a little bit. Jonathan Dunk already making some moves on Jacob here on the AI, unsurprising there, but now VZ got close, but missing the line a little bit there in the braking zone of turn 1. But for the most part, everybody making it through relatively cleanly here, and all the drivers making it up Eau Rouge safely the first time around, which is, in a way, one of the more dangerous times up the hill here, where the tires are a little bit colder after that safety car restart. But Mr. Clean now putting a lot of pressure, came close to Lightwork to try to snag that podium position here from under him in this stage of the Grand Prix, but came close, but not close enough to get the overtake done, so will remain behind. Jonathan Dunk, meanwhile, is continuing the charge right up behind VZ now, and we'll see how long it takes the AlphaTauri driver to get ahead of the Williams driver. He's coming close here around Pouin, but not much of an overtaking corner is that corner. But let's see, is he going to stick one down the inside? Ooh, we thought about it, but things better of it, and I think he might save it either for the outside. No, I think he wanted to go on the outside, but a bit more of a dare than anything else. But if he can get the exit, but to be fair, VZ got a fantastic exit out of that corner into Blanchiment, so Jonathan Dunk can only sit back and watch here as he tries to take the toe and re-catch up here, but he might need to benefit from some DRS as they come around the final corner. But VZ might have it as well on Bring F1 and the 2 hard tire runners that are running a little bit further ahead and keeping this group of 4 cars together. We'll see how it all plays out. Meanwhile, though, Fellow is after Warrior Ends, as they're going to be coming up. Oh, who's just start lap 10. You saw the slight little lift. You heard it in the car from fellow Warrior Ends, taking a little bit of a better line, but of course trying to break the toe because well, DRS is not open just yet. Because we have just restarted under safety car. But look at this, VZ and Bring F1, we're going alongside. VZ gets the overtake done on the soft tires, so there is a separation in that wall of hard tire runners. VZ found it, and now he gets to go after the second hard tire runner. Jonathan Dunk makes quick work of Bring F1 now as well, as he doesn't have to deal with VZ. Could have just focused on Bring F1, and from there the move was inevitable. But now back to the task at hand, which is VZ, unless VZ can get past Memon first. But speaking of getting close though, and possible overtakes, Lightwork got close to Fellow, really feeling this sector too. But we'll see what the exit is going to look like heading into Blanchiment. Will Lightwork have an opportunity here? It does not appear to be the case, so might need to wait once again for DRS to activate at the end of the next lap. Jonathan Dunk getting a nice little run on VZ this time around, much closer than he was one lap ago. I don't think he's close enough to try to stick one into the braking zone though. He definitely does not do that. Much wiser than that, of course, as VZ taking a 3-second time penalty. So that might give a little bit of extra oomph into Jonathan Dunk's jump to get ahead of the Williams driver. And you can see how close he is with the onboard. I think this is going to be a matter of time. I think this might happen here this lap, unless VZ can get ahead of Memon. To be fair, they're both within DRS range of one another. Speaking of, let's see. Oh, we have a yellow flag here in Sector 1, and that was VZ. Oh no, and that was VZ who misses, as I just want to switch over to the DRS. As Crew Steamers now thought about going after Jonathan Dunk, having to slow down a little bit faster, but VZ making a costly mistake. Now Jonathan Dunk getting ahead of Bring F1 and repassing Bring F1 for that matters. Now he needs to get back to Memon, and I think unfortunately I switched over at the worst possible time. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen, but a little bit of chaos there through Eau Rouge and Radiant, as VZ unfortunately falls down the order, and Jonathan Dunk now he does retake Bring, so he's back to square one now and can now focus on Memon without focusing on VZ. Oh, but we've got more of a yellow flag, and I think that's VZ once again. He's got no front wing, so he's got the long way to go to the pit wall here, and I think trying to take as much speed as he can through these corners here with that lack of downforce, with that lack of front wing. But Crew Steamers, look at how close he's getting. Is he going to go for a move here on Bring F1? He's going to throw it down the inside, or thought about it. But Bring F1 sticks to his braking zone and defends perfectly. Crew Steamers has to slot in behind to avoid the incident, and Bring F1 defends that position. But now they're going to have DRS, so Bring F1 is still a second and a little bit behind Jonathan Dunk now. That might open the door to Crew Steamers to get the overtake done relatively quickly. Jonathan Dunk close to Memon as they go up Eau Rouge. Here comes Crew Steamers now, getting close to Bring F1. The move is going to happen here as VZ now taking a pit stop. There went Crew Steamers. Jonathan Dunk now getting ahead of Memon relatively quickly right at the end of the Kemmel Straight. And Jonathan Dunk finds himself back up into P5 here with 10 laps to go of this Grand Prix here, of the Belgian Grand Prix, with Warrior Ends, who's still leading here on lap 12 in the Red Bull. He's about 7/10 ahead of Fellow, 7/10 ahead of Lightwork, excuse me. And after the top three, there is a little bit of a separation. Penalties though for the top two right now, and to be fair, Fellow is keeping pace, keeping close. And we've got another yellow flag in Sector 1. And I think that's VZ. Unfortunately, his race going from bad to worse here, as has another moment going through Eau Rouge. Not what he was hoping for after just putting on a fresh set of hard tires here. But now Fellow coming close to Warrior Ends here, and you can feel the urgency. You can feel the Haas driver He wants to go after the Red Bull. He wants to get this overtake. He wants to lead the race. And we'll see if Fellow is going to go for it here. Now that they've made a little bit of separation, they're going to have to watch out because Jonathan Dunk down in P5 is on the hunt. He's looking to close back up with those with that set of fresher medium tires that he has on as they head up towards who's the leaders do through Radillon and down the Kemmel Straight. 4/10 is the gap. Warrior Ends defending to the inside. Here comes Fellow. Is he gonna get close enough? He's gonna have to go the long way around. Switchback though brings you back out towards the outside. So Fellow defends it perfectly here, and Warrior Ends defends it perfectly on Fellow, and remains in P1. Defends will remain in the lead of the race for at least the time being for one more lap here, as we're on lap 13. Crew Steamers on those softs, meanwhile, trying to close up to Memon himself, get that overtake done, and you're starting to see the medium tire runners start to fall. But later on in this race, you'll see them right back up the order once these drivers ahead and the drivers on the quicker tires here, most notably Crew Steamers on the softs, needs to take a second pit stop here to put on a fresh set of tires. Because I do not think the softs are going to last until the end of the race. But Crew Steamers, he's making a push with those tires, trying to go as long as he can. Fellow once again getting close to Warrior Ends. Let's see if he's going to be able to go for the overtake here this time around as they're heading back towards the start of the lap. To start lap 14 out of 22, you saw Crew Steamers get close to Memon, but not close enough to get the overtake done. Now it's all going to rely on the exit here of turn 1 of La Silce here for Warrior Ends and Fellow. They're heading down towards Eau Rouge now. Let's see how they take it. Ooh, a funky line there as Fellow opts to go wide rather than try to correct the car. That's going to be possibly a little bit of time loss there and might prolong the overtake after having such a good line on the and such a good exit of turn 1. Oh no, and from bad to worse, he goes for a spin. That's Fellow spinning the car. He's gonna have to get back on track, but falling down the order, finds him. Oh no! And right as he gets back on track, very unsafe rejoin as Memon is now out of this Grand Prix as Fellow rejoins right into Memon as they're coming around. Calamity here, and Fellow is going to have a long way to go to the pit lane. Going for another spin here. You can see the frustration, but crucially not much damage on that car, but not ideal in the slightest for Fellow, as that might be something that the stewards might end up looking into for that unsafe rejoin back on track, especially since that ended Memon's race right there. But unfortunately for Memon, he cannot get back on track. He will end up down in P10, but that's heartbreak for Memon and the McLaren team there, as they possibly leave some points on the table here, and that's a lot of points through what very well seemed to be no fault of their own. But we will press on. It is back under safety car. Now Warrior Ends, Light Work, Jonathan Dunk, Mr. Clean, they're all taking pit stops. They might be pitting for a set of soft tires here, knowing that the safety car is going to last another lap or two, and then they get to go to the end of the race. So let's see. And that appears to be the case for everybody here, including Jonathan Dunk. So it's going to be a fresh set of tires here, as everybody has essentially dove into the pits. So the order with that is essentially going to be remaining unchanged, as everybody opting for that similar strategy, pit for the set of softs. And we will essentially have a fairly even gets restart under the safety car with everybody here in the top 6 and what is probably going to be the top 7 on a set of soft tires here, and more drivers are taking a pit stop here. I think everybody is looking to put on, other than Scuba Steve, who I think it's a mistake on his end for staying out and not pitting, as he's going to be in 7th, but I think he's going to lose out on a step, lose out on a stride here, unless he does need to, but no, actually he wouldn't, because he's on the hard tires now, so he'd be using 2 different compounds of tires. So for both Scuba Steve and VZ, an interesting call to stick with their tire choice, but maybe they just don't have any more sets of new tires and don't feel comfortable with the sets they have left to go to the end of the race. But for now, lap 15 out of 22 under safety car. Warrior Ends leads the way on a fresh set of soft tires. It is going to be a sprint to the finish here, and I will be back. I'm just going to take another quick sip of water, and in just a few moments we'll be taking us through the safety car restart here in Spa. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back still under safety car, approaching the end of lap 15, just awaiting for the Red Bull of Jacob to catch back up to the grid here, as he's heading around towards Blanchimont. He will catch back up, but it will not be in time to allow the safety car to come in, so we will have one more lap here under safety car as Fellow and VZ are switching positions here. Fellow taking a 5-second penalty for contact under the under the safety car here, having to take another pit stop to get that wing changed. So not ideal in the slightest for Fellow, and he feels enough is enough. Fellow retires out of this race, and he is down in P10. VZ taking a pit stop, realizing that the soft tires are the tire to be on. He's getting that corrected. Scuba Steve, though, all the while, he's still going to be sticking with that set of hard tires. So he's committed to it. He's committed to the strategy. But we'll see how that's going to play out for him between now and the end of the race. Currently in 7th, so I guess not much to lose and so much to gain if he can just stick to it. But we do need to go back to green flag racing first, which should be, in theory, at the end of this lap. It is, of course, a long lap here around Spa under the safety car, but we should be going back to green flag racing for lap 17 here, so we can get lap 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, hopefully 6 full laps of green flag racing to the end, which has essentially turned this 50% race into a 5-lap sprint, or I guess a 6-lap sprint here if the safety car does indeed come in at the end of this lap. But it's going to be a good one here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fantastic finish, and I'm excited to see how it's all going to unfold, how it's all going to play out here for these drivers. But like I said, we've got to wait for the safety car to turn off those lights and to come back in. Now, under the last safety car restart, it was Warrior Ends who led the way, and he did have a good restart here under the safety car. Was able to create a gap. So we'll see here when he does restart if he can do something similar, if he can make a gap here between himself and Lightwork, because of course now they're going to have Jonathan Dunk, who are going to be on the charge, on the hunt, and looking to snag those positions for himself. But the safety car will be indeed coming in at the end of this lap, so we will be going back to green flag racing. I am excited to get this show on the road. It's going to be a 6-lap sprint to the finish line here, ladies and gentlemen. Warrior Ends gets to lead the charge with the likes of Lightwork and Jonathan Dunk, hoping to charge down at him here, try to snag that win, that podium for themselves that P1. But here we go. We officially get to the restart, and you're already seeing some battling here between Lightwork and Jonathan Dunk. No love lost here, but that's allowing Warrior Ants to get a good restart. And of course, he can't overtake before the line, so not really sure what they're what's going on there, what they're doing. But they were battling here, and now it looks like Jonathan Dunk is going to get the worst of it. Mr. Clean is going to be charging now here. So it's all kicking off. Scuba Steve already falling down the order to P8. So that's that option to stay on the hard tires not working out for him one bit, as Mr. Clean chasing down Jonathan Dunk. You can see now here, you can see Scuba Steve chasing down VZ. He's going to chuck it down the inside, but just can't outbrake. He's got to brake so much earlier on those hard tires, and that's the downfall. Is now Jacob gets ahead. So Scuba Steve down in P9, out of 9 remaining drivers. Not ideal for him here, but we'll see if he can recover once he does find a little bit more temperature in those hard tires. But of course, Mr. Clean still putting pressure on Jonathan Dunk. He still wants that podium. Mr. Clean's driven a very clean race here. No penalties to his name, similar to the top 2, top 3. Warrior Ants, meanwhile, he has 3 seconds of time penalty, so he's trying to build that gap. He's trying to push as much as he can, with now the likes of Lightwork, Jonathan Dunk, who are trying to chase after him. Mr. Clean as well to keep up, so he can maybe snag that podium for himself and possibly knock Warrior Ants off of it. So it's all to play for here, and this late safety car has really threw a whirl into this with the sake of the pit stops, with everybody on the same compound now at this point, and with these penalties and the grid being bunched up. But Warrior Ants sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix under the safety car restart, so he is flying here so far. We'll see if he has enough in it here with those soft tires to pump a few more laps like that and build that 3-second gap. Now through Eau Rouge a second time around, looking to be pretty solid here from everybody. VZ going up, he gets it perfectly fine. Jacob and let's see Scuba Steve if he's got a little bit more grip on those hards. Looking pretty good now this second time around, so might be a little bit more confident in the pace here in the braking zones. But he's gonna have to catch up to Jacob and the rest of the grid first, and he is losing time here. So we'll see how that plays out. Mr. Clean in P4 still, but really putting a lot of pressure on Jonathan Dunk. He's sticking right behind that AlphaTauri, and look at this. Is he gonna go for it here? What a run through Prouan. Takes the inside line, but breaks just a tad bit too early compared to Jonathan Dunk, and Jonathan Dunk is able to hang on to that P3, but Mr. Clean is making it close, and it's only gonna get closer here as the laps start to dwindle down. The drivers are gonna start to feel the pressure. Even Lightwork is now starting to catch back up to Warrior Ants, who is losing out on some of that initial raw pace. So it's still all to play for here with as we're approaching the end of lap 18, the start of lap 19. But oh no, a costly mistake from Mr. Clean here, as he will remain in P4, but now he finds himself right ahead of Ring F1 and Cruise Steamers and 2.4 seconds behind Jonathan Dunk. So as it stands, Warrior Ants is clear, and well clear for the time being. And Mr. Clean, he is going to have to make up a lot of time with not a lot of laps to go, with now some added pressure of drivers behind him chasing. But Bring F1 is now out of this race as he mistakes the line through Eau Rouge. There he is right there, and one more victim here, as that's brought out a yellow flag. But I think that's about as much as it's going to be here in these late stages, with 3 laps to go in this Belgian Grand Prix. That sees us now with 8 running cars, and Jonathan Dunk takes a 3-second time penalty now, which is going to be added to his time, and that reinvigorates life into Mr. Clean, I'm sure, as now he is definitely going to have to be perfect, and he is going to have to push if he wants to still possibly seat that podium, because he could very well knock Jonathan Dunk off the podium if he can keep that gap to below 3 seconds and not take a penalty of his own. So we'll see. The gap is closing here, 2.4 seconds. So we'll see how this is playing out. But Jonathan Dunk is also catching up to the likes of Lightwork and Warrior Ants here for this battle for the lead. So now, currently Lightwork is in the best spot in P2, but no penalties. So he is in a great spot. But like we mentioned, anything can happen here around this circuit. It's still anybody's to play for here on lap 20 out of 22. But Jonathan Dunk, he is on a charge. He's got that penalty and he's looking to make as much ground up as possible to maximize his finishing position. Going up through a Rouge, nearly losing it there, and that is a lot of time lost here on lap 20, 1.4 seconds behind. He does still have DRS, but there is Mr. Clean, now 1.7 seconds behind. So this 3-horse race turned into a 2-horse race, as late here in this Grand Prix, Eau Rouge is showing its teeth more than ever. It is proving to be ever so difficult for the drivers here in Tier 1. But of course, this track is very much difficult, and the best drivers here are able to tame it, which is what we're seeing for the most part from Lightwork, from Warrior Ants. Jonathan Dunk was doing a great job other than that one mistake, but it did come at a costly time here. Could have been the nerves as well that are starting to hit in that AlphaTauri cockpit, but he has essentially put his head back down and caught essentially back up to this group of cars. Mr. Clean, the gap is now 2 seconds, so he is pumping out some time. He is finding some pace here as we're heading towards the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Lap 21 out of 22 with just one corner to go before we start it. Warrior Ants leads the group through the final corner across the line to start the penultimate lap. And for Jonathan Dunk and Lightwork, they get their chance once again to challenge for that overtake. So let's see how they handle it. Once again, we've got the onboard here, and here comes Lightwork coming up. Eau Rouge, Warrior Ants handling that well. It looks like Jonathan Dunk takes a much better line than he did one lap ago, but he is a little bit of a ways away. We're seeing more luck with Lightwork. He thought about going for the move, but just did not close up enough of a gap, but still sticking with it, thinking about going around the outside there, but was not going to work out too well. It just closes up on you. But look at Jonathan Dunk coming right up close behind. 3 cars here battling for the podium here, and Mr. Clean 2.8 seconds behind. Mr. Clean is falling off a little bit. Mr. Clean is losing some pace, and that could cost him here at the end if he can't find it here with a lap and a half to go in this Grand Prix. It's back up to 2.5 now, the gap, but Lightwork and Jonathan Dunk, they are close. They are tracing down Warrior Ants, who needs to hang on for a lap and a third here in this Grand Prix as they come up towards Blanchimont and through it with only a few corners to go, and then one more time around this long circuit here in Spa that I'm sure for Warrior Ants is going to feel that much longer. But here we go. Warrior Ants, though, up to 6 seconds, so that might have sealed his fate already before it started, but still wants the bragging rights here and see if maybe he can help out the likes of Mr. Clean a little bit more. But as they're heading up towards Eau Rouge, one final time here, lap 22 out of 22, they all make it through safely for the top 3. Mr. Clean, no mistakes either on his end. He is they are looking good to go here for the final lap. Only a few sectors to go. They came close, but no overtake was done other than Lightwork, who takes that P1. Warrior Ants now down in second, being pressured by Jonathan Dunk, who is, I think, trying to push as much as he can, but knowing Warrior Ants has a 3 extra seconds, Jonathan Dunk's strategy should be, at this point, just keep it clean. Don't take another penalty. Don't take an unnecessary wing damage. You've got just about 3 seconds, and I think that's the key. Jonathan Dunk wants to keep that. He wants to keep that P2. He wants that P2, and he's got about a tenth of a second margin here that he's going to have to push and try to get ahead of Warrior Ends, or else Mr. Clean, if he puts on a last lap Lando type lap here, and it looks like it's the case as Jonathan Dunk runs into traffic in the form of Warrior Ends, who was able to play a little bit of spoiler as we're seeing here, but the gap back up to 3 seconds. It's going to be close here to the line as they head towards the line. It is going to be Lightwork who takes the victory. Jonathan Dunk in second. Who's going to come in third? Where is Mr. Clean going to end up? It's a tenth of a second shy of P2 for Mr. Clean as he still gets the podium, but it's P3 for the Mercedes driver, but the Lightwork takes the victory. Jonathan Dunk in second as he rounds out the podium here. What a drive by these drivers here today. Lightwork getting driver of the day here in the Aston Martin, so winner and driver of the day. So not a bad haul, not a bad day, if I do say so myself. And there is the podium, definitely well deserved, well earned. Congratulations to all of you. Enjoy the champagne, enjoy the trophy, enjoy the celebration. It was well deserved here as you all tackled and mastered the treacherous Spa-Francorchamps here on what was a very exciting and chaotic Belgian Grand Prix, which of course for us here in the commentators booth didn't really start in the most ideal manner here with that black screen, but we got it resolved. We got some racing in for you guys today, but at the end of the day, from 13th on the grid, it was Lightwork who is champion, who is victorious here. Jonathan Dunk in second for the AlphaTauri, Mr. Clean rounding out the podium, Warrior Ants and Crew Steamers rounding out the top 5 here, with VZ, Jacob, Scuba Steve, Bring F1 and Fellow rounding out the top 10. But from P9 all the way down to DNFs, lots of drivers being bested by the circuit here in Spa. But unfortunately, with a circuit like this, it's what happens. But it was a fantastic race nonetheless, and I'm happy you all could join us here today for this fantastic event. But it is unfortunately the end of the stream. It is the end of the Grand Prix. But fret not, we will be back next week here, September 5th, same time, same place, for, of course, Division 2 and Division 1, as we take to the Netherlands. It is going to be the Dutch Grand Prix, as the real-life Formula 1 circus, and we at NFS take to the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. Not going to want to miss that. It is going to be a good one. But until then, this is going to be the end of the stream. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for watching here today on the channel. I do hope you enjoyed the racing content as much as I did. But on behalf of everybody here at North American Formula Series, my name is Fallen Monkey, saying thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.